Hi guys, welcome back to the Oasis Healing Temple. In today's reading, we are going to take a journey down into the underworld to receive some messages from our guides there. We have three different guides to journey with us down there. They say you should ask a guide to lead you on your quest down into the underworld, just to serve as a protector and a guide. So I have three different ones to choose from. I'm also going to take three different significator cards to help you choose which pile or which guide is going to help you in your journey to the underworld. So we have three different ones. Okay, so for pile number one, we have the crow or the raven with the self. For pile number two, I chose a skull to represent an ancestor. So you may want to journey down into the underworld with an ancestor, since this is where a lot of our ancestors, we bury our ancestors, we bury any of the, it's where the animal kingdom, it's the plant and mineral, the elementals of the planet. It's where our ancestors, where we bury our ancestors. So there's a lot of wisdom in the underworld here. So for this card, we have the heart and we have the skull, and you can invoke whatever ancestor that you feel closest to, or you can just leave it open to any ancestor along your family lineage that wants to be your guide for the day. For pile number three, we have the owl, and we have Thanatos. I believe that's how you say that card. Okay, have a look at these images, or if you already are drawn to a specific guide, your timestamps are going to be listed for below, and if you need more time to choose, just pause the video. Alright, I'll see you guys at your readings. Number one, you chose the self card with the raven or crow. I actually felt more of the raven with this pile. So for your messages, let's see what we have. So we have the self. And I know ravens, they can signify a lot of spiritual awakenings. They bring a lot of truths. They reveal things from the dark. They help us to illuminate our shadows. A lot of people associate them with death, because they do have that kind of mystery to them. I'm assuming because they're black, so they have a lot of stigmatism about them. But they do represent like endings and new beginnings, and they are messengers of those energies from our guides, especially from the underworld. So they do represent a lot of our shadow, and our shadow are the parts of our subconsciousness that haven't been exposed to the light of our awareness and brought to the surface yet. So they represent a lot of unconscious patterns that we have within us. And we also have the self card, and look at the beautiful colors of this. And we have this beautiful golden pearl in the center of the chest, just below the throat chakra. So I feel like this is like the higher heart that's being activated here. And there's this connection to one's true self, your authentic self. Alright, so let's get further in and see what this message is about relating the self here. We have great teacher, learn from spiritual experiences. Ooh, I love that. And look at this bird, this freedom here, setting yourself free and having that peace of mind. And we have this flower of life right here behind us. So there's this new version of yourself that you're allowing yourself to be who you really are, and you're setting yourself free from the programming that says that we have to be, you know, a certain way. And you might be here to help guide and teach others with this great teacher here, having learned from that experience of, you know, being controlled, and now allowing yourself to be free from that matrix and that version of your old self. Let's see what else we have. We have Mother of Water, emotional self-care. I love that. And it's a number 30, so 3 here on this card. And 33. Woo, we have 333. Look that number up. What a beautiful spiritual message. And we have Root of Air. Yeah, there's this element of loving yourself, of taking care of yourself, honoring your truth, speaking your truth, protecting your thoughts and your mind from, you know, anything that's trying to deter you from being yourself. You know, that critical, egoic mind that likes to have control. And you've been able to, like, stand guard and protect yourself and allow yourself to nurture and love your true self. And we have them, like, see how they're like defending themselves here. They're holding like the sword of truth, and they're defending their truth. So it's you standing up and holding your ground and allowing yourself to, you know, gently allowing yourself to be who you really are, and, you know, exploring what that really is, getting to know yourself a little bit deeper. Because we have her, see, she's holding her heart here. And she has this bubble. So there's like this new birth, this coming to the surface version of yourself. And you've gone within to discover different aspects of who you really are. There might be more talents, more gifts starting to surface. You know, your creativity, wanting to explore a little bit more of your creativity and share that with others. Because there's so much healing in when we express ourselves creatively. It's taking an aspect of your soul and you're like pulling it into physical manifestation and doing something with the energy, you know, and that is like part of our creative creator selves. You know, we're meant to create. Winter's End, regeneration, rebirth, positive outcome. Look at that. She is free from any of these vines that are growing up and around her. You know, and these are like attachments. These are cords to the past. You've freed yourself from those things that want to lock you in and hold you back from being who you really are. You have freed yourself from that. And this is number 16, so that's a 7. Very spiritual number. You've been doing a lot of healing, a lot of safeguarding your truth and cutting these cords away so that you can be free to be yourself. I love when the cards show the exact message for you. We have Flame of Surrender. And that's a 12, y'all. We have another 3. So we have 3, 3, 3, 3. I love the beautiful surrender. You know, you're letting go of all the things that have held you down and held you back. And there's this inner fire, this fire that's starting to bloom from within the part of you that's been nurturing this light, this beautiful version of yourself that you're starting to explore and share and shine. Beautiful, beautiful. Now all these layers, letting go of all these layers of doubt, low self-worth, you know, where you just weren't taking care of yourself, you weren't protecting yourself, you weren't allowing yourself to express this version of yourself, and now you've stepped into that place of being able to feel free enough to be who you really are. We have the Wizard, spiritual impeccability. Look at that. He's holding this creation. He's been putting this focus and this intention into this particular, you know, frequency, this timeline, this beautiful manifestation. you know, the castle on the card. This is you coming home to who you really are, coming home to yourself. And we have the unicorn on here, the lion. It's like you're strong, but you're also very, you know, innocent and pure of heart. You're a beautiful, beautiful soul. And we have 39, and 39 breaks down to 12, which also breaks down to 3. So there's this beautiful balance, this connection that you have with yourself, with your higher self. Yeah, you've worked on your masculine, you've worked on your feminine, you've found this unity, this wholeness within you. Yeah, and we even have the, you know, Triton's, well, Poseidon's Triton here, you know, your source of power. You're tapping into that source of your power here. And you're able to see into the shadow, into the underworld. You're able to see the patterns very quickly. You're able to alchemize the energies. Yeah, they have this clarity of vision, where you're able to see the truth now. How beautiful. We have frustration. Yeah, you can see that. Trying to force yourself to be something you're not. You know, trying to fit this square peg in this round hole, and it's just not working because that's not who you are, you know? And we have this trust. Trust that everything's going to be okay, that you are meant to be this version of yourself. You're meant to shine exactly who you are, to be your most authentic self. That's what you're here to do. You're here to inspire other people to be their most authentic selves. And to pave that, you know, to create that safe space for others to express their unique self, to express their higher self, to express their heart, you know, to be able to be in balance, to balance the physical and the spiritual within our heart space. That's what we're here to anchor our spiritual selves, our divine selves here into the planet, and serve as the bridge that connects the two. And that comes from us being in our heart space here, being our true selves. Share your thoughts. This is this dragon. There's actually 2 dragons on here. Your true self. And we have 14, so we have a 55 here. Lots of change coming in. Changes are coming in for you. You're shifting out of one version of yourself into your most authentic self, your higher self, your most genuine self, this golden version of yourself, right? And riding the wave here. I love that we have the dolphins. So you may connect to Sirius, where you know, they're a star nation of higher ascended beings. They work very closely with the collective here on planet Earth. And with the dolphins, we just have a lot of, you know, play and laughter, and it's that enjoying life a little more, enjoying who you really are, enjoying the place that you have found yourself to be on. You have come so far, you've been on such a long journey, and you have discovered who you really are, and are able to express yourself and free yourself from, you know, the matrix, from the confines of society and all the limitations that they place upon us to be and live a certain way, and what their so-called standards of living are. Being able to set yourself free out of their limited little box, and being able to be, you know, your unique self, your bright, beautiful self, and live the life that you want to live from standing in your truth. Okay, let me get you, I'm going to fill in this spot right here. What further messages for pile number 1? We have 10,000 angels. Lean on your circle of supernatural support. Yeah, so you have a lot of guides who are working with you. Make sure that you connect to them, you know, throughout the day, just to tap in and see if there's any messages from your guides about the path that you're journeying on. You know, You have a lot of support. Alright, we have, what would your higher self do? You are divinity in blue jeans. Okay, so this is your higher self telling you, what would you, to always tap into that version of yourself, your higher self, whenever you're going through any kind of situation where you're not sure what to do. Always tap into your heart space, and you easily are able to do that because you have tapped into your authentic self, to your divine nature. So it's easier for you to trust yourself, that you're on the right path, or that you're making the right decision, because it's coming from a space of authenticity, and it's from your heart. You're not seeking to get any kind of gain from anybody's loss. You just are there to be a supportive person to anybody who comes to you for help along their journey. And for you to always, express yourself from that place of truth. Oh, we have be the bridge. Exactly. Expand your consciousness to behold both worlds. You have been doing that. Being able to be, a messenger of source, of spirit, of creator, of God, whatever you call the ultimate powers that be. You are to serve as the bridge from the spiritual to the physical, and to help anchor in that spiritual love and joy and bliss and peace here on the planet, and to be a representative of that energy, of that frequency, to be a leader, an example for others to follow. If we haven't, nobody wants a leader who's not willing to do the work. It doesn't hold weight to have somebody who's just sitting on their high horse pointing fingers at everybody to do this and do that, and not understand the amount of work and strength and courage that it takes to do some of these jobs, and go on some of these missions, and face life when it hasn't been the most easiest path to journey on. But somebody who has, they've been in the trenches, they've done the work, they've been through the battles, and they're there willing to get into, to get their hands dirty and be alongside of you on your journey and help you push through. That's somebody that is honorable, somebody whose word that you value and you could look up to, and you see them as, an ally, a companion, a worthy leader. And that's what we're all looking for, and that's what's missing in our society. It's a true leader. And so when you can function from this place of your divine self, from your heart, from this wise I want to say elder, because I feel like you've been on this journey for a long time, and you have come a long way. You've probably incarnated many, many times so that you can understand how to free yourself from the matrix. And I believe you have come to that place right now along your journey, and you are freeing yourself and stepping into your most authentic self. So I truly believe that you are here to be a leader, to guide others along the journey of how to do that for themselves by being that example. Congratulations, and thank you so much for all of your hard work, pile number 1. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and end your reading here, because I don't want to, continue to repeat myself. So thank you so much for joining me here today. If this reading does resonate with you, and if this was your reading, if you would comment below or like and subscribe to my channel, I'd love to have you back for future readings. Y'all take care and have a blessed day. Welcome, pile number 2. This is your reading, and you chose the ancestor with the heart card. So we have a journey to the heart space. And your ancestor's gonna help you journey into this area. Let's see what other information we have for you. So we have Shaman Master, be graceful in movement and actions. Ooh, look at this. We have Praying Mantis on here, which these are very telepathic spiritual guides. And we have this dragon Be graceful with me. That should follow your heart here. We have animal guardian, trust your instincts. And look, we have the raven, the owl, and we have the panther and a deer. So we have our other two piles represented here in this deck. So you might want to listen to pile number 1, pile number 3. I haven't done pile number 3 yet. But pile number 1 relates to ourself and being our true self. So you might have any messages in that pile. But we have trust your instincts. So there's a lot of following your heart and listening to your heart, defending your heart, because we have this Shaman master who's got his defense tools ready, and I feel like he's on defense. He's not going on the attack, but it is a defense. Being able to protect your heart space, protect this nest, this growing. There's something that you are growing within your heart, something you've been building and nurturing, and you're being asked to follow your instincts, to honor your heart and what your heart has been telling you and is telling you. This might be something in the future. It might apply for you today. Just take what resonates. We have Father of Water, balance and harmony. Yeah, honoring how you feel, honoring your emotions, trust how you feel. I kind of feel like maybe you might be on the defense, or somebody might be trying to get you on the defense, that they might be trying to paint you out to be somebody that you're not. And your ancestors want you to, you know, defend your truth, defend your honor, but to be graceful in doing so. Sometimes, you know, it's letting people have their version of the story and not needing to correct their vision, because the only way for them to look like they're the good guy and that they have done no wrong and that they're innocent and that they're a victim is to paint somebody else to be the enemy. And sometimes some things just are meant to happen because there's the path that we're meant to go down, and they aren't going to be, you know, on that journey with you. And so there's a reason why we have these endings in certain relationships, and it's because on the quest, on the journey, the path that you're heading towards, these won't be your companions for the journey that you're going on, you know. And so there has to be this ending in some way, and not all the time, like, you know, their version of the story and you have your version of the story. Even if your version is, you know, you have innocent intentions and your motivations for doing things, there's, you know, you're always going to be a villain in somebody else's eyes. And sometimes the silence speaks louder than anything you could say in regards to their story. And sometimes it's just a tactic to get your energy, to take your energy, to get you on the defense, to constantly feeling like you have to defend yourself and your actions. And to be honest, anybody who knows you, who truly knows you and knows your heart, knows your intentions and knows, you know, who you really are. So to think and say horrible things about you, or to treat you in some kind of way, even, you know, if they were upset, you know, it's having the courage to face, you know, your feelings about things and to come to somebody and say how you truly feel, especially if you're wanting to be in this relationship, because it takes effort, it takes communication, it takes courage, it takes, you know, humility and humbleness to be able to say when something hurts you. And because in letting somebody else know that they hurt you, people use that as power and they use it to their gain. And anybody who's trying to do that in a relationship with you isn't worth having a relationship with, because anybody who truly knows you would know your heart and know you would never do something like this. So the story that they're trying to paint you out to be, and anybody who believes it, they're not meant to be on your journey. They're not meant to be your ally and your friend. And so let those people go, because they're not a match for you and your frequency and your beauty and your love, and they're not deserving and worthy of you. So along your journey, though, you will meet people who know your heart, see your intentions, and know the truth. And that's the difference. Sometimes you don't have to defend yourself. The truth will always be revealed in the end. And so as hard as that is sometimes to let somebody like tarnish your reputation, like anybody who truly knows you wouldn't give to, I want to say, curse word, but wouldn't give it any light. They wouldn't feed that energy. They wouldn't feed that narrative in that story. And anybody who does, they're just looking to brown nose the other person, or they're too afraid to stand up and say the truth because they don't want to be, attacked, or they don't want to be on that person's bad side. So they just go with whatever, But you're looking for people who are authentic. You're looking for people who are coming from their heart, who are going on this heart journey to know the truth and get to know the truth. And when they hear something, they hear truth, and they feel the energy. They trust their instincts. They're listening from their heart space. That is, where we should have our focus and everything. And it's not on, the lies and the drama. Yeah, we want peace, dissolving unwanted or disturbing thoughts. We want peace. We don't want to be in an argument. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's like just easier to let go than to stay there and defend yourself and be on guard 24/7 with somebody. If they truly love you and know you, like my intentions, and I couldn't do that, and I wouldn't do something like that. And if they don't, it's time to walk away, because shame on them. You shouldn't have to constantly prove who you are. They should know who you are. And if, like I said, if somebody gets hurt with something that you did, or, they take issue with something, then it's come as an adult and let's have a conversation so we can find our common ground and continue building a bridge versus trying to tear it down and, have a right fight situation where we're constantly, there's friction and chaos, and there's no coming together, building a bridge of sorts. Yeah, you want balance. We want a give and take relationship. We want reciprocity. We want equal ground. We don't need a power struggle. We have remembrance, resurfacing of past feelings and emotions. Okay, so whenever we feel triggered by, certain types of energies, and it will come to us through different people to trigger something from our past that is unresolved within ourselves, within our minds, within our emotional body, that still hurts us because we don't have a resolution, or we don't have closure, or we don't have understanding about the situation. And so we will constantly be triggered by other people who serve as messengers to the original source of pain when we first were experiencing this conflict within, or where we weren't coming, let's say you're a child and you experience something very painful and traumatic, and, with your parents or with your siblings or just life in general. And throughout your life, you'll see a recurring pattern. You'll see, you'll constantly be triggered by people treating you the same way, or having, it's under different circumstances, but it's the same feeling. And that's what needs healing, is that particular feeling. And so it's, you're going to be triggered until you heal that first initial, wound that you have. And it's understanding why, and allowing yourself to feel that way, because in those moments, that was your truth. That's how you felt. That's what your instincts were telling you at the moment, that this isn't right, this isn't fair, I shouldn't have to feel this way, or shouldn't have to hide or not feel safe, those types of things. And so your heart wants healing. It wants to feel safe. It wants to feel peace. And so we need to go back to those initial wounds and bring some understanding and some higher perspective into that situation so that we can restore balance and harmony within our hearts, within our minds, and within our physical body and our emotional body especially, because we have some disturbance in the waters here. And you want to restore that balance, and you're trying to maintain that balance. And so there might be a little bit of residual emotions that need to be cleansed out, but for the most part though, you've been building this space within your heart, this safe, beautiful space, because there's this beautiful blooming and there's this nurturing within that's taking place. So just a little bit of healing work to do here. We have Kundalini rising. Yeah, there's a healing that's taking place. And when we have the Kundalini rising, this is the healing energy that is moving through our bodies, moving through our energetic system. And as the energy moves up, they say it, it's like a snake. It dances as it hits the different chakras. And as it does that, it reverberates. It creates this vibration within us to shake off any densities, to shake off any pain, any lingering lower frequencies that we have. And so if we have wounds and unhealed memories, they're going to surface. They work their way to the surface because they've been buried in, really deep, because they're from our past, And sometimes we even forget what they are until when we go through this healing process and the Kundalini starts to wake up, and we start to wake up to our divinity, to our own powers and stuff. There's going to be the obstacles, or the chance to heal our obstacles and our wounds and our shadows and things that have been our painful memories that we haven't healed from yet. So they will start to surface for us to apply our love and our attention and allow ourselves to feel what is natural to feel when we're experiencing something of this nature, right? If we're afraid of something, we're going to feel afraid. If we are sad, we're going to feel sad. And sometimes in those moments where it's natural to feel a certain kind of way, maybe you didn't, or maybe you held on to it a little too long, and it's time for you to release it and let it go. And, or sometimes, some of the old programming was, when you were sad and you were crying, you weren't allowed to cry because it was seen as a weakness. You weren't allowed to, let's say if you were experiencing an emergency situation, sometimes people, you have to respond versus like reacting. And so in the moment, let's say somebody was fixing to, they sustained a serious injury, and you had to rush into the hospital and getting them there, and you had to be the strong one. You don't want to show them that you were scared because you didn't want them to be scared, and so you kind of have to put your feelings aside for somebody else. And maybe you didn't fully release the pain and the trauma that it caused you going through that experience. So these are just some examples of ways that we can hold on to wounds and emotions that can get trapped in our energetic bodies. And do they just need to be able to be released and felt and acknowledged that it was true for you and that this was your truth, and allow yourself to be safe expressing those feelings and allowing yourself to trust that that is, your truth. Your feelings are your truth, because in the moment that is truly how you feel, even if that isn't necessarily what's happening in the moment, because sometimes when things happen to us, it triggers a feeling from the past. And in this moment, like, it wasn't that intense, but you felt it that intense because you have repressed it for so long, and it's just like sitting on the surface waiting to be released. And so it looks for any excuse to like pop off, So especially like if there's anger and frustration, a little bit of rage in there, they will just sit just under, like it's boiling under the surface there. So little tiny things will set you off, even though they're little tiny things, It's because you have repressed it so many times because you're afraid to feel it. And we are meant to feel, and feeling is how we release them, and it's allowing yourself to be angry and be justified in our anger because somebody violated my space. They violated my, um, my energy or my trust, whatever it is where you felt betrayed and that you needed to protect yourself in some way. That's why anger is there, and we should feel justified in our anger. It's one thing to go out and just beat somebody up just because you want to and because you're mad. But it's another thing to feel anger when somebody has betrayed you, or when somebody is hurting you, somebody's beating you, somebody's hurting your feelings and stuff. It's there to teach you to set boundaries and to know who's somebody who is an ally versus somebody who is a companion, and not to blame those feelings or to shame yourself because you have feelings. They're there to teach us. They are our messengers about the energies that are around us, about the people who are around us. So it's something that we need to trust and listen to and value. Okay, pile number 2, we have Book of Shadows experience. Wow, okay, I was just talking about that. This is our past, what you've been through, and it's bringing that light into the past and illuminating our experience and seeing them from a higher perspective. The person you are today has a lot of wisdom and gained a lot of insight into, your choices and who you are now by those experiences that you've went through in your youth and your younger years and the past versions of yourself. Everything you've experienced, you've been accumulating the wisdom and the knowledge from having made every choice you've ever made. And so now you're being given this opportunity to go back into the past, into your heart, and wherever there's any wounds, where there's any misunderstandings, any triggers that are coming up for you, it's time for you to go into those situations, into those moments as the person you are today. And where can you apply your love? Where can you apply your higher perception? Where could you see where, we can wish that we made different choices because we can look back at them and see where our misstep was. I shouldn't have trusted that person for so long and allowed them to treat me this way. I wish I would have done this, But it's coming to that place of acceptance that I didn't, and now I know now. So I'm going to forgive myself for not knowing, but I was coming from this place of my consciousness, coming from my heart, and trying to have forgiveness and compassion and understanding that everybody isn't perfect, because I'm not perfect and I don't want anybody to hold me to a standard of perfection. So I'm coming from a place of grace and allowance. But now I realize I can't do that and betray myself and my feelings when somebody's not putting that equal effort in, and it's having that understanding so that you can have closure on these situations, and trying to have this understanding and this tool when you're trying to heal from old wounds, and it's being your own parent, and it's going in and being that somebody there to help be your wise guide while because you're still kind of experiencing that situation because you haven't released it yet. It's still a wound. And so once you finally go back and you bring clarity and understanding and forgiveness and let it go, it will no longer be something that comes up for you to feel anymore, that triggers you anymore, because you've come to a place of understanding and closure. And that's what your heart is asking for. We have invocation. So this is bringing that balance to, because this is our earth, air, fire, water, and our connection to our higher self. And so our water is our emotions and how we feel things. And our thoughts is air. These are our seed thoughts. These are the things that we hold on to. It's almost like what we grow and nurture. And then we have our fire. This is our passion, our creativity. It's also the energy that's in our body and how we use our energy. And then earth is the physical body. So it's how we nurture ourselves, how we love ourselves, and how we take care of our physical body, our vessel. And then, our divine self, this is our spirit, our soul that animates our physical body. So when it's coming into balance with all these and using each aspect and bringing that balance out. And we have the ravens here again. So there's a lot of messages. You'll be receiving a lot of messages from, you know, your emotions, from your thoughts, from your heart, from your passions, you know, your physical body, when it's telling you like this person isn't, you know, somebody who's there for you. They're, you know, taking advantage of you. They're manipulating you. No, listen to those instincts. Listen to those red flags. Listen to your intuition. They're all messengers. They're all revealing something to you. So we have death. Yeah, it's time to let some things go. Time to put some things to rest. We have nurture all that you love. Yeah, and it's extracting the lessons from those experiences. You know, what can you take forward with you? You know, there's so much information waiting for you. There's so many tools to those experiences that you're meant to carry forward on this journey into your heart. Time to ground. Yeah, this is, you know, your connection to your ancestors here. The ancestors connect us to Mother Earth. This is our roots. This is our, you know, where we come from, our programming, our family lineage, things like that. This is where you need to apply the healing, is somewhere in the past, you know, and these can be programs that are passed down from your parents, you know, thoughts, which are our programs from our parents, from this is the way they've always done things, and, you know, my parents were treated like this, and so they treated us like this, and this is what, you know, what has hurt me the most is, you know, certain situations, or the way that we're not allowed to express our feelings or feel our feelings, etc. You know, children are to be seen and not heard, those types of things, you know, that need so much change. They need so much healing. And, you know, children are there to be nurtured. We have to nurture these young souls and these beings because they're our future. They're going to be the ones who, you know, you want to hope that they take care of you by the love that you put into them, that when it's time for you to leave this world and you're at your most vulnerable, you know, you want people there to support you and guide you as you transition out of this plane. And, you know, you would want to hope that the service that you provided in nurturing their light and in their hearts and their bodies until they were able to take care of themselves would be the return that is paid back in exchange for now you leaving and transitioning out of the world, you know, because you revert back to that youth. Your body, you know, starts to break down and we become very weak and we become very, you know, vulnerable. And for me, I could never send my parents into a nursing home away because the way I was brought up, not even the way I was brought up, but in my heart, I could feel we're meant to be more tribal. And I resonate with that so much that we are, and unfortunately, not everybody has, you know, the parents that are the most nurturing and most caring and most providing and making us feel safe. And so I'm not saying that you should put yourself in a situation to take care of somebody who's caused you so much pain and have never apologized or never sought your forgiveness or never see the errors of the way that they inflicted pain, and there hasn't been any kind of healing and understanding at all. Like, I'm not telling anybody to go and do this or judging anybody for any choices that they've ever made. This is just for me, myself. If I was not, you know, if I had issues with my parents and there was no resolution and they caused me such deep trauma and pain, like it is not my duty to be that person who honors them when there was no honor in me and my feelings. But for me, my parents have been that for me. They have been the supportive parents who allowed me to be who I was and never tried to dim my light, even though there were some, I didn't have an easy life by any means, but my parents still had a lot of love and still loved their kids. I just grew up really, really poor. I was bullied a lot. I had a lot of a lot of situations happen in my life that I'm not going to get into now, but I've been on a journey. And my two parents, though, have been people who I would honor as they transition out. And so not everybody is blessed with that service, and I feel like I have, so I'm very grateful. But I feel like it is part of society's, downfall not to have those types of families that are more tribal, because I believe that's where we need to venture into, is where we care for one another, where we don't have children who are being raised by wounded parents who still have so much trauma, people who have, so many of these false programs of, a lack of love and a lack of care for their children, for the youth. And I truly believe that we're here to change that and create these tribes, create family unity again, where children can feel safe, where they don't have to worry about being raised in a home full of trauma. And where we can create these new patterns, we can bring in these lineages of love and tribe. And that might be a mission that you might be here to bring forth because of the way that you may have experienced, your youth and your situation. And we have sad embrace here as the last card. Yeah, it's time for you to just nurture yourself, take care of yourself, take care of your heart, and to tend to these wounds and to heal from them, and to create those shifts and those patterns in the way that you were, raised to believe and to see certain things, to honor your feelings or to neglect your feelings and your heart. Your ancestors, the underworld, are asking you to be brave and to go on this journey within, and to allow yourself to nurture yourself, to allow yourself to feel your feelings, to trust your instincts, to heal from these wounds, to allow yourself to feel your emotions, to release these emotions, so that you can have more peace and have more balance in your life, and so that you can be that version that you needed, to be that parent that you needed, to be that friend, that ally on your path, so that you didn't feel alone. So you need to, just nurture your heart and to be true to your heart. So that you can become this new light, this new ancestor who's here to set the path for those who follow you. The one who brings the change, the one who brings the healing, the one who creates that safe space, who is the heart of the family. You are the heart of the family, pile number 2. And you're here to heal this family, to heal the lineage. You are the master. Yeah. This beautiful golden light, this pearl of wisdom. All right, pile number 2, this was your reading. Thank you so much for being here today. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if this pile resonated with you. I'd love to have you back for future readings. Thank y'all so much for being here and spending the day with me in the Oasis Healing Temple. Y'all take care and have a blessed day. I'll see y'all again. All right, pile number 3, this is your reading. You chose the Owl with Thanatos. So this card represents the actual underworld, as a matter of fact, which is so wild that this came out in the card selection. So this is us embracing, the ending. It's like the death card. And the owl is very observant. It's very wise. It's able to see things from all different kinds of angles. It can see into the darkness, into the shadows, into the underworld. So let's pull some more cards for you. Let's see what this message is about, because this is the actual underworld card. Let's see. We have winter. Take care of your needs. Mother of Earth, fertile ground. card number 4. We have some stability here. We have the trickster, ego, and excess. Okay. So I feel for you, pile number 3, that it's time for you to let some things go. There is a cycle that is ending for you. Some things of the past. We have the spider webs here, and spider webs link us to the past. When we see spider webs out in nature, most of the time they've already been abandoned by the spider, and they create a new one each day for each new hunt. And so our spider webs are symbols of the past, and they're things that, traps that we get caught in. Some maybe critical thinking or belief systems and structures, old habits, things like this that we can get stuck in, we can get caught up in, and where we're not focusing on our goals, or we're not focusing on our personal needs, what we're meant to be focusing on. It kind of keeps us trapped in like a web of lies, or a web of pain, and being stuck in the past, not being able to free ourselves from that situation. And right now, connecting to the death card, and we have the winter here, so it's the end of a phase, the end of a cycle. It's time to let some things go, time to release anything that's in excess. And see, look, we have this, what I feel is a spirit of the mind, and there's all this webbing here on the wings, and it looks like a spider even, which is so wild. So it's just something with the mind, because we have, our ego, which is our critical mind that always wants to be in control. And, anytime we experience something where we don't feel like we have any power or control in a situation, our ego wants to jump in and have control and tell us what to do, and maybe not listen to our heart and our feelings and the way that we feel about something. The mind always wants the control, and it wants to protect us, essentially. That it's its role. It wants to protect us. But sometimes it can get us, on a power trip, or get us thinking in a fearful mindset of all the potential things that can go wrong, instead of seeing how we have the power to create, and to trust that we have an instinct to trust ourselves, trust that we can handle a situation no matter what is presented to us, and to be stuck. The ego wants us to feel like we're stuck, so that it has all the control and can make all the decisions, where we feel that we're powerless in our circumstances. And right now, you're the owl messenger who's leading you to the underworld is telling you to see things from a different perspective, to use your animal instincts, to be brave in the face of your fears, and to stand your ground, and to anchor in more of your confidence, more stability in the present moment. Because that is where we have all of our power and control, is to be here in the present moment, and to not be dictated by our past and past circumstances, to live in the present moment and to handle each situation as they come, step by step, and not let our fear, or let our mind take over and make us feel like we're trapped to the circumstance. Let's see what other messages are here. We have the matriarch, nurture the harvest. So we have fertile ground, Mother of Earth, and the matriarch, nurture the harvest. And I feel there's this maze right here in this foundation. There's something that you need to navigate through in order for you to ground in this new beginning that you're trying to create for yourself. And so there might be like some sticky things, some sticky webbing here from the past, some old thoughts that might be trying to surface and control you and keep you trapped in the past. but it's time for this to end, and you're being asked to stand your ground, to nurture yourself, nurture this vision, nurture this idea, nurture your heart, the part of you that's trying to grow this new foundation. Not only that, but also to nurture your inner child. And it's comforting your inner child not to have a fear response to the situation, or not to be afraid to let something go, to have this ending, and that you will be okay and you will survive having gone through this and be better for it, because there's these blessings, this abundance that's wanting to come in for you, having gone through this experience, having chosen to let go of the past. We have these new insights. This new beginning is waiting for you, pile number 3. It's very fruitful. See all this blooming, this love, this care, this nurturing that you provide for yourself is going to also then provide you with more abundance, more good blessings, more exciting adventures on the past, more a solid foundation, something that you can count on, as a stable ground. And you have, by doing the work today, you're going to have the work you do today will create that foundation for that future blessing, for that future outcome. It takes time for our manifestations to come here onto the earth. So you have to hold this focus, and you have to begin the work now so that you can secure that foundation for the future. We have attachment, letting go, restriction, and fear. I'm going to place that right here underneath the ego. Yeah, sometimes we can get a little complacent with where we are on the journey, and it feels maybe a little too daunting to make these choices for ourselves or to implement that change. It might seem a little overwhelming. But if you make a step each day, commit to, shifting that thought, shifting the fear anytime you get triggered by something, and it's cutting those cords to that thought process, and allowing yourself to change and transform, and to catch yourself when you're thinking that way, and monitor those thoughts, and interrupt them with your heart, with your nurturing energy. Yes, I know this happened in the past, and in bringing that past version, that ego, that mindset, that critical mind, or, that inner child who was still afraid that this situation's going to repeat again. And you can learn to parent yourself and be that comforting guide that says, I know this happened in the past, and then I was defenseless. I couldn't take care of myself, and I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm the one who's providing. I trust myself to make the right decisions, and that we're going to be okay, that I am my provider. I'm the one who's taking care of me now. I don't have to feel like I am powerless in the situation anymore, and it's shifting that mindset and nurturing those feelings that's going to bring you to this new beginning of this beautiful harvest here. We have Song of Creations, right? Use your voice to self-soothe, to comfort that ego, to comfort, your fears, to comfort your inner child. You're being asked to let go of these fears from the past and to nurture your inner child so that it can have this new beginning where it's not living from a place of fear anymore. It's living from a place of trust and comfort and safety. And it's you pouring into yourself, you pouring that love, you pouring that tender, nurturing energy, nurturing yourself, learning to self-soothe yourself. Because I feel like in your past, in your childhood, you might not have had that nurturing, loving support. You know, you might have felt like you were a lone wolf on your own, and there wasn't anybody who was taking care of your needs or looking out for your, you know, your benefit. You know, your parents might have been in their own world and doing what they thought was best, but a child isn't able to communicate their needs. You know, they're not able to even have the dialogue or the understanding to be able, or even the courage to say, like, this is, you know, I don't feel this from you guys. And, you know, it takes a lot of bravery and vulnerability and even awareness and understanding to be able to do that. But as we get older, you know, we're able to be able to do that for ourselves and not look for anybody outside of ourselves to do that. And I think that's where a lot of people end up going wrong, because we are taught to give in order to receive instead of to, you know, yes, give unto ourselves, so that we learn to receive, you know. And it's, you have to pour that love into you. You have to pour that nurturing energy into you, because nobody else knows how you need to be loved. Only you know what your needs are. You can communicate that as best you can, especially to your partner, but they can only do so much for you, you know, and we shouldn't lean solely dependent on anybody else. You are your like best ally and your best parent for yourself, to be able to give yourself love. And a lot of people find that so hard to do, and it's so sad because we're so willing to give it freely to others, but we have such a hard time pouring into ourselves and nurturing and loving ourselves. And so the underworld is asking you to let go of your fears, to embrace an ending, and to nurture this new beginning for yourself. We have Athame, Commander of Power. Look at this. That's right. Stand in your truth and hold this focus of what is it that you want to create for yourself. Know and trust that you have the ability to create whatever outcome you want. And it's taking that conscious choice every day, making a step every day. If this is the goal you want, you got to start working your way to the goal. Everything isn't just gonna, you know, sometimes it can, if you get into the correct alignment, and there's a lot to the mastery of alchemy and everything, because if you can align to the frequency, you can tap in and match that frequency. And certain masters are able to do that because they've reached a certain level of alchemy and understanding of their frequency and their energies and our gifts. But most of us are not there. So, but it takes time for you to get from point A to point B. And so, no, we don't always have access to all the tools that we need to get us where we want, but choose something. What do I have around me right now? What is a step that I can do right now that's going to get me going in this direction? Even if it's just researching the job, you know, looking for a job, if it's changing a job, if it's, you know, nurturing yourself, you know, how can I interrupt these thought patterns when I'm having this fear come up with something that I need to do that's going to shift my focus from being in a fear mindset into a, I have the power to create this change within me, and I believe in myself, you know. And what is, if it's doing mantras when that fear comes in, you know, I am safe and I trust myself to make conscious choices that are gonna benefit me and all others in my life. You know, it's getting into a routine where you can learn how to soothe yourself. You know, what is it that you need to do? You know, what is something that you can do that's going to get you from point A to point B? We have stop, exactly. Interrupt these thought patterns, this fear. Stop coming from a place of fear. Here we go. And come from a place of happiness, because this is what you want. You know, you want to find your happiness and what makes you happy, what makes your inner child happy, and lean into this area, you know, and not be so fearful, not come from a place of being so afraid all the time. It can be very draining on our physical bodies when we are constantly in a state of fear. Know your fears, exactly. Be able to confront them and face them and understand them. You know, where do they come from? What are they here to teach you? What are their messages? You know, why are they still there? Why do I still have these feelings? Why do I still have these fears? You know, why do I constantly think of this every time, you know, X, Y, and Z happens? Why is this always my go-to thought? You know, and try to understand them and be brave to face them, because they really are just messengers. You know, it's your inner child who doesn't feel safe. They don't feel supported. They feel out of control. I don't feel like anybody's here supporting me, you know, and that's why you have to be that person for yourself, to nurture your inner child and comfort them and say it's gonna be okay, because this is what we're gonna do. I got a game plan, you know, and it's, even if you don't, you know, it's the trust that you will be able to make the right choice. And if you don't, you will still be able to make another choice where you're given that blessing. Details, details. Exactly. Trust in yourself, you know, and sometimes we don't always need to know how and why. You just have to trust that things are going to work out, you know, and it's having that faith that you're always being guided and that everything has a purpose, you know, and that if it's a lesson you need to learn, you're going to learn that lesson, and you will learn how not to do something, and you will learn how to do something when you experience that again. We have come together. Beautiful. Exactly. You just have to trust in yourself, nurture yourself, take care of yourself. Use this perspective, shift your perspective. What angle can I look at this situation? You know, how can I readjust the way that I'm seeing the situation so I'm not coming from a state of fear? I'm coming from a place of trust and an understanding that I have the ability to choose and to make a choice, and not to worry about how I'm going to, you know, how's this going to work out? How can I do this and this and this and this? I will be able to handle each situation as it comes to me. I don't need to live in the future and the anxiety of the future. And I don't want to live in the sadness and the regrets of the past. I want to heal my past. I want to let go of all these cords and my attachment to the past. Step out of my comfort zone. Learn to nurture myself, comfort myself, trust in myself that I can make the correct choices. And if I'm unsure of what to do, I can pause for a moment, take a step back, re-look at everything, re-observe the situation, and then come to a place of, all right, I can do this. And this is something that I could do right here, right now, and then make that conscious choice to step forward. You got this. Face your fears, understand your fears, pile number 3. Understand who you are. Let go of this past. It's time for you to step onto a new journey, to create something new for yourself, to come out of an old cycle, and to find your happiness again. Coming together, healed. Look at this. I love that with the crown up here, where you feel safe and whole within yourself. And you will get there. All right, pile number 3, this was your reading. If you feel called to comment below, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have you back for future readings. Thank you all so much for being here, and y'all take care and have a blessed day.